Good evening and welcome. You're watching the NewsHour Agenda. I'm Padmaja Joshi. As fuel prices burn a hole in the pocket of the Aadmi, that is you, the Prime Minister today waded into the debate during his interaction with Chief Ministers of all states over the rising cases of COVID in the country. The Prime Minister urged the opposition-ruled states to reduce taxes on fuel in the spirit of cooperative federalism. His message was simple, that non-BJP states and the centre had slashed the amount of taxes that they imposed. The centre had carried out this reduction in November, but several opposition-ruled states did not take a cue. They did not follow suit. They did not cut the VAT, despite the centre's request to that effect. He also cited the example of states like Karnataka and Gujarat, saying that they suffered economic losses because they decided to cut taxes on fuel to help the Aam Aadmi.
आप सभी इस बात से परिचित है कि जो युद्ध की परिस्थिति पैदा हुई है और जिस प्रकार से सप्लाई चेन प्रभावित हुई है, और ऐसे माहौल में दिनों दिन चुनौतियां बढ़ती जा रही हैं। देशवासियों पर पेट्रोल डीजल की बढ़ती कीमत का बोझ कम करने के लिए केंद्र सरकार ने एक्साइज ड्यूटी में कमी की थी। पिछले नवंबर महीने में कम की थी। केंद्र सरकार ने राज्यों से भी आग्रह किया था कि वो अपने यहां टैक्स कम करें और ये बेनिफिट नागरिकों को ट्रांसफर करें। अब कई राज्य जैसे महाराष्ट्र, पश्चिम बंगाल, तेलंगाना, आंध्र प्रदेश, तमिलनाडु, केरला, झारखंड, किसी न किसी कारण से उन्होंने इस बात को नहीं माना और उनके राज्य को, नागरिकों को बोझ कंटिन्यू रहा। मैं इस बात में नहीं जाऊंगा कि इस दौरान इन राज्यों ने कितना रेवेन्यू कमाया, लेकिन अब आपसे मेरी प्रार्थना है कि देश हित में आप पिछले नवंबर में जो करना था, 6 महीने डिले हो चुका है, अब भी आप अपने राज्य के नागरिकों को वैट कम करके इसका बेनिफिट पहुंचाइए।
Now, the Prime Minister's appeal has sparked a massive war. The opposition, first of all, is saying that instead of giving relief, cornered over the issue of rising prices, rising inflation, all that the centre has done is try and shift blame. Pass the buck onto the states. In fact, the Congress even said that the Modi government has so far earned 26 lakh crores in the form of excise duty on fuel in the last 8 years, but the benefits have not been passed on to the people. It urged the centre to further roll back excise so that people would get a little relief.
एक्साइज की बात करते हैं। भारतीय जनता पार्टी शासित राज्यों ने महीनों पहले ही अपने अपने राज्यों में टैक्सेस में कटौती की थी और आम नागरिक को उसका लाभ पहुंचाया। कर्नाटक को 5,000 करोड़, गुजरात को 4,000 करोड़, बाकी राज्यों को भी हजारों करोड़ रुपए की क्षति उससे हुई। टैक्स की कलेक्शन कम हुई, लेकिन भाजपा शासित राज्यों में आम नागरिकों को उसका लाभ मिल पाया। लेकिन विपक्षी दल केवल केंद्र की ओर देखते हैं, जबकि अपने यहाँ पर टैक्सेस में कटौती नहीं करते।
Right now, Government of India is taxing 25% more compared to West Bengal government on petrol. The total revenue collected by Modi government on petrol and diesel since it came to office, it is about 17,31,242 crores. क्यों किया? क्यों किया? और आप स्टेट को बोलते हैं?
You're watching the News Hour at 10. Debate number 1 on Times Now. Super Prime Time.
All right, joining us on the debate, Shazia Ilmi, spokesperson of the BJP, Tushar Gupta, senior editor Swaraj, Dr. Shantanu Sen, MP and national spokesperson Trinamool Congress, Raviula Sridhar Reddy, spokesperson of the TRS, and Saravanan, spokesperson of the DMK. Shazia Ilmi, Your problem, your government, you are under pressure. Why are you shifting blame onto the states?
Well, nobody is shifting blame. We all know what's going on in the world, and we know what is happening individually in every state. We know what was the price of crude oil before 2014. We know when UPA took over what was the price, and when they demitted office, what was the price of petrol and diesel. And we also know what has been the global situation. Amongst the countries that are dependent on oil exported or on the imports, India is the second cheapest. And I think it's important for everybody to know that amongst all the countries that do not produce oil, that actually have to buy oil from other countries, oil in India, the petrol prices are the second cheapest in the world.
Okay.
So that's one thing for India. And thank God we are here and not anywhere else.
So you're talking about the BRICS countries.
If you look at the list.
Okay, you're talking about the BRICS countries among Brazil, China, India, Russia and South Africa.
If you look at Brazil, if you look at Russia, okay. If you look at Brazil, and if you look at even South Africa, you compare, it's comparable, and it's almost the same. In fact, India is still cheaper. If you take 7 to 10 rupees short, you would come to the same. So we are, so that's one. But two, it is surprising that all of those who are blaming the centre and instead of applauding the centre for having kept inflation somewhat low despite a worldwide inflationary trend.
Okay.
The US is facing an inflation of 8% and more, when we are containing it to 5.5 to 6.5, and sometimes it does go up to be more. That instead of applauding in India and the government and working with it, and instead of cutting the taxes to make it a little easier, they are busy collecting VAT.
Okay.
For their own, because that's the
Mr.
most
Saravanan,
efficient,
if you can't applaud Shazia Ilmi's party, at least cooperate with them. Don't cooperate with them. Cooperate with people of your state and give them a little relief. The centre has done their cut in November. And now it's been 6 months. You also give a little relief.
Yeah. Padmaja, it is a little perplexing when the Prime Minister speaks about, waxes eloquence about cooperative federalism. See, the fuel surcharge and cess is the highest. When you are putting cess and surcharge for the fuel, which is taken entirely by the union government, nothing comes to the divisible pool. So nothing comes to the state government. The union government takes everything. And after GST, this money coming into the cess, money coming into the divisible pool has plummeted to 4%. And cess and surcharge has gone up to 96%. So on the one hand, you reduce the money that the state is receiving. And on the other hand, you have the audacity to ask the state governments to cut the fuel price. This is one thing. The other thing is, Tamil Nadu has performed consistently well on a social index and brought down the fertility rate. Because of that, the money we get from the Finance Commission is lowered. On the one hand,
Sir,
you lower the money.
With the greatest of respect about your second argument, it is the kind of argument to say that I am the person who is one of the very few people who pays their taxes in this country, so I should get 4 votes. And people who don't get their taxes should get only 1 vote.
I'm coming to that point. You raised a valid point.
We have equitable distribution of resources decided by the centre.
Yes, Padmaja, I'm coming to that.
But on your first argument, let's take it one by one. You are saying, because we have lower fertility, we have lower population, we have more outgo, we have more, money being contributed to the country. Hence, we should get more also. That argument, let's keep it aside for a second. Because
no, not keeping it aside. I'm just coming. This is directly correlates to how we can or cannot reduce the petrol prices, fuel prices, because that is one of the only revenue sources.
So with the greatest of respect, sir, under all that jargon you are saying that centre हमसे ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा पैसा ले रहा है, so we will have to suck the blood of the people who are paying up in our state.
It is not
because
so.
where will we get our money from? I am sorry, taxpayer, it will be you.
Union government.
You will pay.
The union government is sucking the blood. The union government is sucking the blood, not the state government.
With the greatest of respect, sir, VAT blood is being sucked by the state governments.
No, I will tell you that. I will tell you how. Because when the union government charges tax, it is a flat rate. It is not percentage.
Okay.
Whereas the state governments charge percentage. If
Okay.
the union government reduces, automatically the state government's share
So,
comes
Tushar
down.
Gupta, help us understand. If you are not going to give Mr. Saravanan money, if you are not going to give him any cut in the revenues, where is he going to have all his schemes funded
Absolutely.
from? Somebody will have to pay, right? I will have to pay then for my diesel and petrol.
So then, Padmaja, tell me, if the center has to pay for all the schemes of any state government, why do we have a state government in the first place? See, it's a very simple problem. I'll narrow it down into 4 points, Padmaja, starting with inflation. Inflation is not unique to India right now. We look at what's happening to the gas prices in Europe, in America. So we have a problem in India with respect to the crude prices, which is not a mistake of the center. It is not a mistake of the state government. The second point is that of political bickering that is going on. Now, the Prime Minister made a request. It wasn't an order. He wasn't slamming any party. He wasn't questioning how the revenues were spent. He simply said that 6 months ago, we cut the excise. A lot of BJP ruled states went ahead and reduced the VAT. I only request the non-BJP state governments to also follow suit. That is all he wants, a request. Now, the economic argument all the states are making, which brings me to my third point, is we don't have the money. We don't have the dues. The government has to give us this. The government has to give us that. But Padmaja, my simple question is, these state governments like the West Bengal one or Tamil Nadu or Andhra Pradesh, don't they have a state revenue model? They don't have even enough window within it to just slash the VAT for, say, 3 months, not 6. Are we talking about state finances in such dire situation that if the center does not clear their dues, they cannot even slash VAT for 3 months on fuel prices?
Mr.
So
Saravanan,
what
can
are
you
we
do it
doing?
for 3
And
months?
my final point is, Padmaja, when it comes to the freebie economies, because a lot of these states which are today refusing to slash the VAT have been named in the SBI report for splurging on freebie economies. That time they have the money. That time they have the funds. But tell them to slash the VAT on fuel for 3 months because of a global economic situation. Suddenly, all the blame lies on Narendra Modi, all the blame lies on center. So
Okay,
what do we
answer
have
that,
this
Mr. Saravanan.
Yes, Padmaja. Yeah, Padmaja, the important issue here would be, we have this system. See, first and foremost, it is the Tamil Nadu government, our Chief Minister, Mr. M.K. Stalin, who first reduced the fuel prices. Petrol price was reduced to 3 rupees in June 2021. We were the forerunners to the BJP. Even before the union government or the Prime Minister could make a request, we did that. It was one of our poll promises and we fulfilled that. So let them not preach us. We know what to do.
Do it
And
further.
when we talk, yes.
If you're capable of doing it, do it further. Great. Congratulations. Thank you.
Padmaja, it was a poll promise.
We have done
So that is why the motivation was there.
I did not speak. I did not intervene when you were speaking.
No, but Lisa raised an important point. When you could do it as a poll promise, do it now. So what if there are no polls? Do it.
Yes, we have all. How many times we will do it? That is what I told you. When the union government reduces it, it is a flat rate. Automatically, the state's revenue comes down.
But sir, you are saying that you can take a hit to your revenue when it is about a poll promise. So do it when there are no elections, just for pure goodness of your heart.
It's not goodness. The finances should help me. I don't know, this freebie. I don't know where this gentleman is getting this idea. This is called a welfare economy. It is not a freebie. Everybody across the country.
Then tell me, if you're saying that you are taking these taxes for welfare, what do you think the center is taking its excise for? Center is not taking it to build lovely houses. Center is also taking for the welfare economy.
We don't know what they're doing with the money. Probably they're funding out all the businessmen who are writing off their debts. 26 lakh crores.
Really? Where do you think that 6,000 rupees per year of PM Kisan comes from?
Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, Ujjwala Yojana.
Let them give the cut. Let them give. See, you are talking about 6,000 rupees. How much money the business people are getting waived off? That is the question you have to ask.
Actually, sir, you are playing very fast and loose. There has been no waiving off to any businessman in the last 7 years. Name one businessman who's had a loan waiver. One.
Everything is in the black and white. Everything is there.
So then let's put it on TV. Which business house has got a loan waiver? Which business house has their debt waived off?
Put it on, Padmaja. Put it on. If you have,
sir, you are the one who made the claim. I am saying there has been no such debt waiver. Which business house has been benefited?
Right now, I don't have the data. Can you say that no business in the last 7 years, no debt has been written off? IBC, how many loans have been waived off?
No businessman has had their loan waived off.
Why are you talking about
I don't know, Padmaja, that is a debatable claim.
That's what you want
You are
to
making that assertion.
Sir, you are making the claim that businessmen have had their loans waived off, but give me the data for that. Give me the example.
I will probably in the next debate, I'll give the data to you. We will have a debate on that. We will have the data on that.
Okay, let me come. Let me come now.
26 lakh crore go.
Okay, where did 6 lakh crore go? I will actually give you the breakup of that data in the next 30 seconds, but let me bring in the TRS as well. Why is it, Mr. Reddy, that the TRS ruled Telangana is one of the top 5 states when it comes to the price of petrol and the price of diesel? Why? Why can't you give relief?
First of all, I would like to tell you that the Prime Minister has not spoken to his standards. He spoke like a BJP leader. Name-calling the non-BJP ruled states, he's only trying to shift the blame. It is their job to actually reduce the prices. We have not increased the VAT for the past 7 years. We only have rounded up to the minimal next price, but we have not increased the VAT. Where is the question of reducing the VAT prices and giving the relief to the people? It is only trying to show us in the bad light to our people, and which cannot happen. It is only for the political gains. And the Prime Minister is talking about giving us 41% taxes. If you look at the cess, the kind of cess they are collecting, if you reduce it, actually we are getting only 29.6% of the total divisible pool. They are looting 11.4% from us by collecting the extra cess, which never, the country never witnessed in the past. Even in the past governments, they have not done. And you are talking about cooperative federalism and quoting only non-BJP ruled states. At one end, you don't support us. When floods come, you don't support us. There are no national status to our. You are trying to strengthen your own BJP ruled states and asking them to relieve.
Sir, which states haven't got support when there have been floods or there has been a cyclone? Which specific state are you talking about?
Of course, Gujarat. When Gujarat got the floods, the Prime Minister went there, gave them 1,000 crores. When we have got floods in Hyderabad, we have demanded a 5,000 crores relief immediately. The Prime Minister never bothered.
Remember what happened in Orissa?
This is everything.
All the states wherever there has been.
No.
For heaven's sake, stop.
I am talking about.
See, when you listen.
When you specifically talk about Telangana,
don't reduce it to this level, sir.
No. So I am sorry. I am not trying to reduce. When Prime Minister cannot follow the standards.
Let me finish and I am coming back to you, Shazia Ilmi. Just to be clear, you are saying, just to get the facts right, Mr. Reddy, you are saying that your state of Telangana has never been given any disaster relief by the centre. Is that what you are saying? Which is why you have to impose these prohibitive rates of VAT because you have to do disaster relief on your own.
No. Not only disaster relief, even the central, sponsored schemes or any other
let's be clear on facts.
Any other
are
support,
you saying, sir, that your state has got no funds for disaster relief? Yes
not
or
only
no?
disaster relief I am talking about. I am talking about any other CSS support or any other national status to our projects. At one end, you are trying to weaken the non-BJP
has been given funds for disaster relief.
Absolutely not.
You have never been given any funds.
Absolutely not. That's what I'm trying to say. At one end, you are trying to weaken the financial status of the non-BJP ruled state. You strengthen your own states and ask us to reduce the VAT.
Telangana has never been given any disaster relief, which is why we have a 27% VAT on diesel and a 35.2% on diesel.
You are a non-performing alliance today. You are not doing your job. Is this called cooperative federalism? Just by strengthening BJP ruled state, will the country grow? We are the 4th largest economy in the country.
Okay, before you respond to that, Tushar Gupta, let me also get in Dr. Shantanu Sen. Fine, we have GST dues not being given the reason why DMK cannot reduce rates. We have no disaster relief package given, so TRS cannot reduce rates. What is the problem that Bengal is facing? Dr. Sen, what is the problem Bengal is facing? Dr. Shantanu Sen.
Padmaja, as I was a silent listener, I would like to reply uninterrupted.
Yes.
First of all, I would like to reply my BJP spokesperson, who seems to be having a sense of complacence in quoting the country like Brazil and Russia and South Africa. Let me remind you, it's not me. It is the World Economy Report which says that the economic situation of India is even worse than any poor country of the world, as for example, Brazil or whatever it is. Number one. Number two, nothing can be more unfortunate than to listen to a Prime Minister expressing his feeling of stepmotherly approach, expressing his feeling of political vendetta and targeting the non-BJP ruled states.
How?
Which he said in today's statement.
But he did not name any name. He did not do any name calling. He said these are the states. I request you in the interest of the people. He did not say you are greedy or you are thieves or you are robbers. He said these are the states where the state taxes are high. Please reduce your taxes.
Let me answer, ma'am. Let me answer.
Yes.
Present central government has earned not less than 17.3 lakhs crores as revenue. And in the last few years, they have increased the excise duty by 250%. In 2014, it was 9.2, which has come up to 32.9.
The fact that you could have cut taxes and you did not.
250%. When our learned finance minister is saying that we are purchasing fuel from Russia as a lower price.
So if we are talking about, sir, here is some statistics, because we keep saying, okay, so here is an argument, because we've heard the DMK, the TRS and the TMC. What is, okay, just a small counter question now. The main argument given is, we need our funds because we have all these welfare schemes. Center is the one robbing all these funds. What is the center doing? So here's some data. What Mr. P. Chidambaram said is that the government has earned 26.5 lakh crores from fuel tax collections in the last 7 years. According to the RBI, the total development expenditure by the government in the same period is actually 90.9 lakh crores. Where will that money come from, sir, if the center keeps reducing? If the center keeps reducing the money that it gets from petrol taxes, where are all the schemes going to come from? Dr.
I have got two questions.
Yes.
I have got two questions. Number one, by using which magic stick there was no fuel price hike before the elections of 5 states? Number one. Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear. You can talk by the same magic stick that the DMK could reduce their taxes as an election promise. That is the magic stick. The stick which is on the EVM, sir. You have fought elections, you know better. Why are you asking us? That is the magic stick.
Number two, why a state like West Bengal is not getting its dues in proper time? Why we are not getting 98,000 crores which we are supposed to get from
Tushar Gupta, respond. Tushar Gupta.
It's laughable that the TRS spokesperson has to say that the center has never allocated any funds to Andhra Pradesh. From 2014-15 to 2020-21 financial year, the center allocation to Andhra Pradesh has increased by 300%. In fiscal year 2021 alone, the center's allocation was around 77
He's talking about Telangana.
How can he come on national television and say that the center has never given any money to Andhra Pradesh? And the other TMC spokesperson,
is representing Andhra Pradesh.
Sir, he's talking about Telangana. Tushar Gupta is talking about Telangana.
Telangana, my bad.
Speaking. TRS party representing Andhra Pradesh?
No, but sir, just a second. While you are right in saying it's Andhra Pradesh and Telangana, in the year 2020 itself, you have got 224.5 crore rupees flood relief, which has come to you from the center. So it's not as if you have not been given any disaster relief packages. It may not measure up to your expectations, but West Bengal has got packages, Kerala has got packages, Telangana has got packages. At the time of disaster relief, everyone gets packages. And let me remind you, sir, that the same states which are saying, oh, we are running a welfare state, so we need to put the taxes, then why do states like Punjab ask for a bailout? Why do states like West Bengal say we are under severe debt, now the center needs to give us a financial package? You are supposedly getting all your money from petrol taxes. Then use it. Why are you asking center for a relief package? Why are you asking the center for any kind of bailout?
How come Gujarat can get it? How come MP can get it? How come UP can get it?
Sir, they get it based on the, if you're talking about disaster relief, all these states get it according to the magnitude of the destruction caused.
Not any extra funds.
But you
And
cannot
the central
argue
government-
that we need to tax the people because we are not getting funds from the center.
I am not
That
saying
I'm
that.
sorry to say is factually inaccurate.
Very clearly, I said we have not increased the VAT for the past 7 years. I am talking about centers extra support to BJP ruled state and not giving any support to our states.
Okay.
And at the same time, you are trying to show us in bad light.
Sir,
And my dear Tushar Gupta, you're saying TRS party. I am not representing Andhra Pradesh. You need to check your data and correct
no,
it.
that we have already
Telangana.
figured. See,
You're talking about national
financial packages
program and all that
and
stuff.
their fairness
Okay.
lies in the eyes of the beholder. The bottom line is that if you really care for the common man, the states can do their bit and the center also, if you have done it once, can do it again at the time of this crippling expenses that we are incurring every single day you drive out with your vehicles. Thank you very much, all gentlemen and Shazia Ilmi, for joining.